Department, Community Impact Team, and I would like to welcome everyone to the second quarter Good Neighbor Projects. First of all, I would like to thank Sophia and the St. Ambrose University for allowing us to have this space. This is our second time to be here at Rogalski Center, so we really appreciate helping out with the space and with the computers and everything like that. We intentionally Jubilee Center at 525 Fillmore. Assistant Director of Humility Mary Services, Christy Adamson, will be our guest speaker, and she'll be presenting on just how to be a good neighbor to our homeless, and we will have opportunities to see their new facility at the Jubilee Center. So we're really excited about that. We've been busy, and one of the things that we're probably most proud of that we've been doing the last few months that we just concluded is Coffee with a Cop. So we started that in the beginning of March, and every 2 weeks we travel to a different Hy-Vee throughout the city. It was a great time for us to meet our neighbors, and most importantly for our neighbors to get to know us. Each one of those Hy-Vees we had anywhere between 20 to 30 people. It was a great partnership that we have with Hy-Vee. They donated the space, the pastries, and the coffee. So we're looking forward to doing that again in 2022. Tomorrow, just a few quick announcements. Tomorrow we have a great event that's open to the entire community, pretty much across the street from here, or at St. Paul Lutheran Church, just south of Vanderveer. They will be showing at 6:30 p.m. a documentary called Ernie and Joe. It's an HBO documentary, and they're crisis police officers in San Antonio. I believe the documentary is about an hour, and then after the documentary, Officer Carver, who is our mental health representative from the Davenport Police Department, and myself, who is the homeless liaison for the City of Davenport Police Department, will be there to answer any questions and to share about what we're doing to help people who have mental health challenges in our community. So we're excited with that partnership with that church, and once again, it's absolutely free. Anyone is welcome to St. Paul Lutheran Church tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. We're busy. Saturday, West Locust Hy-Vee, Officer Carver will be there. My friend Becca just gave me some free tickets for Davenport Nights at the River Bandits game. Those tickets are for July 23rd game and August 13th game. So if you come out to Hy-Vee, we will have some baseball tickets. So Officer Carver will be at the West Locust Hy-Vee. They're having a Customer Appreciation Day. Is the food free? Oh, food is free. As I look at my friend from Hy-Vee, the food is free. Also, I eat scribbly too, food free, yep. Hot dogs and things like that. So Carver will be at West Locust Hy-Vee from 11 to 1, and then myself and Officer Lucas Rusk will be at the East Kimberly Hy-Vee. We will also have a squad car display. They're partnering up with Quad C Crime Stoppers. So this is your opportunity. I don't know if it's $1 per ball, but they're going to have a dunk tank. So if you've ever wanted to dunk Officer Lucas Rusk, this will be your opportunity to dunk them. But all proceeds from that, Hy-Vee's being very generous with that, and they're donating that to the Quad C Crime Stoppers. You guys notice that I'm up here by myself, and I'm not up here with my good friends Nevada Lemke. As many of you guys know, she's the reason that we have the Good Neighbor Project here in Davenport. It started back in about October 2019. I reached out to her and I told her that I found something on the internet over in Madison that they're doing some great things in Madison called the Good Neighbor Project. And myself, Nevada, and Owen Farrow, our social media director from the city of Davenport, took a road trip to Madison. Tyler Griggs, a Madison police officer, Wendy Rifle, one of the founding people for the Good Neighbor Project in Madison, welcomed us, shared with us what works for Madison, and then we got to sit in on one of their neighborhood meetings. So Nevada has left the city of Davenport, but she's now moved on to bigger things, and she's now the city administrator at Silvis. So hopefully you'll be able to bring this to Silvis someday. So every day I miss you. What I love about Nevada is that she really cares about the neighborhoods in Davenport. Her passion and her can-do attitude that she always fought for the neighbors, and so I love that, and I know that you'll continue doing that over in your new community. With that being said, we do have a new community engagement coordinator. She'll be formally introduced next week, but her name is Allie McWilliams, and she's sitting right there. She's here as a Davenport resident, and it's safe to say that we met her through Coffee with the Cops. So that's when we started building our friendship and our working relationships. And I saw right away that she also shares that passion and that drive to make Davenport a better place. So we're very lucky to have her on Team Davenport. So we're expecting some great things, and we know that you're going to do an outstanding job for us. Today's a great day because today is our official 85th Good Neighbor Projects neighborhood. The Davenport Downtown Partnership. I had to make sure I said that right. The DDP, they've been great partners with the city of Davenport for many years, and they've always been a good neighbor, but they formally said yes today. I saw them in a meeting and I go, I don't think you're on our list. So they formally said yes, so that brings us up to 85. We also have 2 other neighborhoods that are interested, and hopefully by this time in September, they'll also be on our Good Neighbor Projects registry. I just want to, real quick before I introduce our guest speaker, I just want to give a shout out. I guess it's a good neighbor shout out. So, and it's to our Mitchell Bluff neighborhood. Some of you guys may not be familiar with Mitchell Bluff. It's just north of the Central Community Circle. Best point of reference would be just south of Jefferson Elementary School. But they noticed a homeless male, he's about 19 years old, named Willie, that was sleeping in his car earlier last week. And they befriended him. They found out he had some sort of car issue. And he wanted to move on. He recently moved here from Detroit, Michigan. He wants to make Davenport a home, but his car wasn't working. So one of the neighbors contacted me, and I met Willie. This is Friday afternoon, so it's hard to get things going on Friday afternoons. But on Monday I met with him again. I wanted to make sure he had food for the weekend, and he had his access to food, and he was sleeping in his car, but I told him that we'd get him help on Monday. So I called my good friend, Tammy Trice, who is the director of the Open Door Crisis Center that's housed at Friendly House. So you could literally see the Friendly House and the Open Door Crisis Center office from where Willie was sleeping in his car. Asked Tammy, hey, can you help him out? And she goes, yes. So they had some funds available. She goes, I can help him get his car fixed, but I can't pay for the car to get towed to Wallach's Towing, or Wallach's Auto. So I go, we'll figure something out. So I called Bruce Grocher. We were more than willing to pay. Tried to give him money, tried to give him a credit card. He goes, well, we'll take care of this. So I'm happy to say that the car was fixed today. So thank you, Crisis Center and Tammy for doing that. He had a job interview today in the neighborhood. And he has 30 days of shelter at Homicide Mary Shelter. So I love telling those stories because it's the neighborhoods coming together, seeing an issue, and working together not only as the neighborhoods but also with our great nonprofits like Open Door Crisis and Homicide Mary Homes, Coacher Towing, to give this guy some hope. We have some special people in this room. We have Alder McGinnis from the 3rd Ward. We have Alder Dunn from the 1st Ward. Obviously Nevada's here. Joyce Miller from our Van Buren neighborhood parks. Thanks for being here. They're our very first Good Neighbor Projects neighborhood. And this is our first time that we're doing this on Facebook Live. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of our citizens watching this recording at a later time. Without further ado, though, I have a very special guest speaker because that's why we came here tonight. It's to listen to Tee. So, Tee LeShoure acquired her master's as well as bachelor's degree in law enforcement and justice administration while minoring in psychology and sociology. After working 20 years for the Rock Island School District number 41 with at-risk youth, she is now employed at Family Resources as a supervisor of homicide, other violent crimes programming, offering Supervisor, offering support, therapy, and advocacy services, among others, to victims, communities, and organizations all over the Quad City regions. Tee is also the founder of Tee It Up Movements, an organization originated for the purpose of moving from being stuck or complacent in trauma, grief, bad experiences, failures, self-doubt, or self-sabotage to a place of empowerment and vision. The plan is to build up individuals, communities, organizations, and businesses so that thriving in their most authentic form becomes innate. Tee It Up's mission is to empower individuals, communities, organizations, and businesses to view life and other experiences through inspired lenses. So thank you, Tee, for being here.
Thank you. I'm going to set this right. All right, thank you for having me tonight. I got to hook up with you because you're around the free food and stuff. That sounds delightful. So, again, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present to you information about the Homicide, Other Violent Crimes programming at Family Resources. I am Tee LeShoure, Supervisor of the HODC team. Today you will hear an overview of our services that we provide for individuals, families, communities, and other organizations. As you may know or may not know, everything that we offer is free and confidential. So because we're a small crowd today, if at any point in time you have any questions, just raise your hand and we can, and I can get those answered. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please let me know. Which is the deliberate and unlawful killing of one person by another. So let's talk about what's considered other violent crimes. They include, but are not limited to, assault and battery, burglary, hate crimes, bullying, neglect, drunk driving, robbery, kidnapping, terrorism, child abuse, elder abuse, financial exploitation, and aggravated assault. These are the clients that we serve. So they are direct victims of crimes, friends and family members of crimes, or crime victims, as well as anyone impacted by crime. So we call that community crime or community violence. There's no age requirement. And if you have been affected by any crime, you qualify for our services. We do serve both Iowa and Illinois, and although some services reflect one another, there may be some slight differences. Grief, loss, and trauma therapy. We support survivors in their own journey of grief, loss, and trauma, work alongside the survivor through his or her own grief at his or her own pace, and individuals, family, and group counseling is also available. So we provide advocacy and support for survivors during the journey of grief, loss, and trauma. The impact of homicide and other violent crimes affects each person differently. So our role mission during this time is to make sure that the client receives what they need in order to work through those feelings as well as their thoughts at their own pace. Comprehensive services. So we have crisis response, safety planning, immediate emergency housing needs, emergency client assistance, medical advocacy, legal advocacy, systems advocacy, volunteer programming, information and referral. So these services are what we provide. They're listed here, and this is where services such as crime victims compensation comes into play. which is the direct financial reimbursement to a victim for an expense that resulted from a crime, such as medical costs, lost wages, or funeral expenses. Each state has a crime victims compensation program that allocates funds to survivors of sexual assault and other violent crimes. And as I mentioned earlier, all services are client-led, free, and confidential. So we have short and long-term support services as well. We support during trials that are occurring after a homicide or a violent crime. We offer holiday grief support groups. We also offer holiday events during that time for those family members that have experienced that loss. We have specialized support groups to children and teen survivors. We also offer assistance in understanding how trauma is affecting employment, school, and other relationships. So case management is based on unique needs and barriers and preferences. So SOHP, which is Survivors of Homicide Programming, is always available to help in a crisis. We provide connections to resources that help improve safety and well-being, as well as achieve short and long-term goals listed here. All of our services, as I repeat again, are client-led, voluntary, self-determined, focused, and free and confidential. Where can you find us? So if you are interested in where you can go to find us, currently, these are the places where our offices are located. So we have an office in Iowa, which is our Davenport campus. It is 2800 Eastern Ave in Davenport. We also have an office in Illinois, which is our Moline office. It is 1521 47th Ave in Moline. It is across the street from South Park Mall. We are also co-located at the Davenport Police Department, where we assist during police emergencies when needed and safe. Thank you guys for that. We are able to respond to non-emergency or conflicts. We receive client referrals there. We respond to community violence such as shots fired. And when we do that, we also do it in a safe manner as well. So if there's a situation where shots are fired, we might get the location or the community in which that is, and then later when it's safe, maybe a day, two, maybe a week after, we'll go in that community and talk to the residents and make sure that they know the services that we have available. We are also in schools, in different organizations. So we're in the Davenport School District, we're in the Rock Island School District, we are in the Safer Foundation youth programs, where we do group services, advocacy, debriefing. We also have foster group care that is on our campus at 2800 Eastern Ave, where we also provide services there for our youth. So it is through these connections and locations that SOHP has been able to provide services for about 800 clients thus far, with over 200 in Illinois and over 500 in Iowa. While we were able to do we most definitely can't forget the partners who have helped those interactions happen, such as our local police department, allowing staff to participate in ride-alongs in addition to being co-located. So we do a lot of things in Rock Island too, Illinois, excuse me. We function in Arrowhead programming, Martin Luther King Center Community Center, as well as after-school programs such as Spring Forward, who allow and welcome our services, not only for individuals, but as for group services as well. Survivor service programs within family resources. So other than homicide and other violent crimes, we have break the traffic, engaging males, which is only in Iowa at this time, but we're working on having those in Illinois. With engaging males is our mentoring program for at-risk males. We have an advocate that goes out and works with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and brings in advocates from the community, or mentors, excuse me, from the community to work with some of the kids on campus as well as other kids in the area that just need that hand up and a little bit of mentoring and caring. We also have shelter and housing. We have domestic abuse, including domestic abuse services for LGBT plus clients, and we also have sexual abuse services. So, historically, Survivor Services was focused primarily on female clients and in areas of DV and SA, which is domestic violence and engaged females, sheltering and housing are our new programs and designed to help reach victims and survivors in all areas, such as the breaking traffic, which is sexual trafficking as well as labor trafficking. If you need any of these services outside of homicide, these are our access points. So we have a crisis line, which is a 24-hour line, toll-free. You can call from anywhere in the world. We have a crisis response call. We have other agencies working with survivors that will call us and say, hey, look, we need your services over here. Can you meet us? And we respond to crises in that manner, such as law enforcement, hospitals, fire departments, healthcare systems, law enforcement, judicial systems, and fire departments, as mentioned. Anyone can access our services through one of the following. So if you need any of those services, feel free to access those, or if you just call me, I'll direct you where you need to go. Get help or refer help. This is our crisis line number that will connect you to an advocate that will make sure that you get in the right place and get the right needs. So we accept collect calls. All calls are confidential. All services are free of charge. And again, we are 24 hours. Any questions? Please ask me some questions. Yes, ma'am.
So, do you see any, how did your work change during the pandemic? Do you see any pattern shifts after, or things that are happening differently? What was that like for family resources?
So, we predicted with the oncoming of COVID and the quarantining that things would pick up, and they absolutely did. So we had to be unique in how we provided services and how we did that at a distance and safely. Things picked up. We did a lot of things virtually. We connected through emails, Zoom, anything that we could do that was hands-off we did, but we knew that there were some things that, like providing food services or emergency services, that we just took precautions, and we knew things would pick up, and we knew we had to be safe. So we had we had put things in place so that we could take precautionary measures when we did have contact with people. Any other questions?
What kind of opportunities for volunteering do you have?
Girl, what you want to do? We're going to find it for you.
Okay.
So what we do is we put our volunteers through the same training that we go through as employees. It's a 64-hour training. We want you to be equipped, even as a volunteer, when you come on, to know, hey, this is what kind of clients we serve, and you may be faced with those kind of things. So will you be equipped with everything? No, because every client comes in with a different situation. But will you have, that trauma-informed care training? Yes. So we do that. We make sure that our volunteers get that. And you can volunteer for any program, SA, DV, Homicide. If you want to do presentations, we get a lot of that. We have volunteers for special events as well. So it's all in what you want to do, how you want to volunteer, and what you're willing to, give to the programs. Any other questions?
Tee, can you just share a little bit about your experience going to Washington, D.C. and with the city? And then also, did you see anything out in Washington, D.C. or Baltimore that they were doing in their neighborhoods that would be a good idea for us to have here in the city of Davenport with a good neighbor project?
So, the assistant chief, the mayor, myself, my supervisor, as well as, I'm about to mess her stuff up, I know. Chief Strategy Coordinator, is that it?
Sarah Ott.
Yes.
Sarah Ott, Miss Sarah Ott. We all went to Washington, D.C. So it's called the ONES program. It's a safety engagement programming that they have there, but there are several programs that are under that. And they have what I call a wheel. So each person is in their place, including the Metropolitan Police Department, and they are all tied into providing services that provide violence prevention. So I've seen what we are trying to do here, how they have taken it and made it work. So it provided encouragement, and it definitely provided some ways in which we can do that, which I think we have all the pieces. So there's Juvenile Detention Center, there's the ONES program, there's another program that works in prevention, there's the Metropolitan Police Department, there's the mayor's office, and they all work together. So what they do is they talk about what they want to have done, what violence prevention looks like for them. And I think they have implemented it well. They have what they call credible messengers, which are people that come from those communities, and they've taken them. And so these are not people that they just say, snatch out of the community and say, hey, look, you are here and we're going to make you a credible messenger. It is actually people that have had some hiccups coming up, but they've actually come back to the community and are trying to rebuild themselves there. And so what they do is take them, train them, and make them credible messengers in order to go back and kind of provide those same opportunities for people in that community. I definitely see us doing that here because we do have some people that have come back and redeemed themselves and are now productive citizens in this community and society. So that would be what I feel like we would use as credible messengers. Those people that just need a hand up and not a handout. So I see that they have that and they made it work. I did see all the monuments. That was nice. It was really hot there. Washington has a different kind of heat. I'm not going to complain here anymore though. And then so if they have like a shots fired, all of these programs come together, they debrief and say this is the location it is, this is who has that ward, this is what we probably need to do, and everybody goes out and do what they bring to the table. So if in the case that someone needs to be, let's say law enforcement needs to intercede, they work together to make that happen. If it's a case where we need some preventative services and we need therapy, there's a piece that makes that happen. So they all work together in that violence prevention cycle to make those things happen. And I think this we are on the beginning track, and I think we'll get there, most definitely. Yes, ma'am.
So is this team convening because it seems like right now, very often, our police department are the only ones there, and then they have to find the resources. So in these cities, is the team convening as the issue is happening, or do they know, are they on the scene or readily available, or how does that work?
So what they do is that they have a debriefing call every morning. So if something happens late that night, they have a team of people from each organization that either get on that phone or meet and talk about, hey, this is what happened, this is what we know. Now, does the law enforcement give them every part of that? Absolutely not. We know they can't, there's some information they just can't give. But we know the basic things of that. And so from what I know, they've explained that most of the time they know who those people are that are in that community doing the crimes. So what they do is they collab on how we best reach this person or get this person to a place where we have to, implement law enforcement. So they are all planning before that even happens. So they know the areas where violence is occurring often. And that even though they're providing preventative services in that area, they also have shot fired cameras, which I thought was so neat. So they have sensors when shots are fired in that area, cameras automatically alert the law enforcement, so they know where they are, and they pretty much know those areas because you have people in different wards that are working those areas. So the credible messengers are in those areas. They're working in those areas like advocates as well, and they are interacting with those people that are involved in violence, not interacting in violence with them, but interacting like mentors. They also have so I was told they're a district, they're not a state. So they have access to monies we just don't. So that's why I'm like, we gotta take pieces of this thing and, work within our budget. But it was refreshing to see. It was, and they have some great success stories. It was just refreshing to see. It was refreshing to also see that, you know, to get confirmation that we are, as Scott County or state of Iowa, really working to do the same thing. So we're working for the good. Any other questions? Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Tee. That was awesome. I know I learned a lot, and I can sure say that the people in the audience along on Facebook Live definitely walked away learning some things, awesome things. And we thank you and your whole team at Family Resources. You guys are there 24 hours a day, and I've personally had to rely on your social workers and your volunteers in the middle of the night to help out a victim, because that's...
Rely on us some more.
We will. And as a police officer, that's something that we always fight for those victims, to make sure that they get the services that they need when they're experiencing possibly the worst day of their life. Thank you for everyone for attending, and we are looking forward to seeing everyone at our neighborhood events, Party in the Parks, and we'll see you September 28th at Mary at the New Jubilee Center. Thank you.